Hello everybody, welcome to this week's segment of Star Watch, which is where we take a look at the transits for the upcoming week. If you are new here, my name is Jane. Thank you so much for being here. We are also very happy to have you here along with us on this journey. So let's go ahead and get straight into the charts for the week. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and get into this. Now, I want to start off with the full moon. That was a couple days ago. We're now in the the waning moon period, which means the moon is coming into her darker phases. And I feel that she is, I didn't mention this before because I honestly didn't make the connection. But this full moon that was just a couple of days ago was at the 27th degree of Cancer. And this was in a sextile with the 27th degree full moon eclipse over in Taurus. Now, when you really think about the energy between November and now, like the past couple of months, I think that it is fair to say that a lot has really happened. Now, that full moon eclipse was directly conjunct Algol, the fixed star, which is a very powerful star. I think a lot of things happened to us as individuals, right? Some people got physically ill. Some people had a lot of stress financially. There were some family things going on. There was maybe some issues with certain relationships that you had. And between then and now, it was kind of in this strange, like there's this determination to make it better, but also with a lot of things being out of control. And I feel like that full moon was kind of a closure point for that eclipse period, kind of a smaller micro cycle, if you will, to kind of help us to reprioritize the things that truly are needed to heal in order to actualize future success. Because if there was a physical situation that arose, if there was a financial issue that arose, right, those were things that we needed to take care of because they were foundational, right? It was, that eclipse happened in the Saturnian decan of Taurus, so it was foundational and it was needed, or it is essential for that which you are building. And we have to remember that there are still foundational things going on for us right now, the building of those foundations. But I think we're kind of coming to that point now where we're ready to start executing. Now, over the next few days, okay, Mars is finishing out his transit in Sag. Now, I talked a lot about this particular transit last week, but he's coming to a close here in Sag, and he's going to be making his way into Capricorn on the 24th. So between now and the 24th, with a waning moon, not to mention that over the course of the next few days, the moon is going to be coming into Virgo, which is going to be opposite of Jupiter and then Neptune, and then it's going to move into Libra, which will be opposite Chiron. So like, give yourself the next 3 to 4 days to really allow yourself space for emptiness, to not fill up your days with so many things, to not fill up your days with things that are in particularly not pleasurable, okay? Give yourself space to spend time with family and loved ones and partners and having amazing sex and laughing and going out and doing things that you really enjoy. All right, because once Mars hits Capricorn on the 24th, now I'm not saying it's going to like the day of, boom, all of a sudden your whole dynamic is going to change. But as he gets used to that Saturnian energy in Capricorn, he's going to start realizing that he's got some grip, okay? Because Sagittarius is kind of a slippery energy. It's fiery, it's passionate, it's fun, it's mutable, it's all over the place. But when it hits an earth sign, it's going to realize that it actually has traction. And it can grab into the ground and push forward and really make a lot of things happen. And then that's going to be the time when we're going to say, all right, well, look, there are things that you want to accomplish. Said things here, right? There are certain goals that you want. There are certain, lifestyle changes that you're wanting, certain health goals, whatever it is. Boom, there it is. And Mars in Capricorn says, okay, well, what do we need to do to get from point A to point B? Okay, well, we know exactly what needs to be done. So now it's about doing it. And I think that achievement of goals is one of the greatest ways to enhance our sense of self-respect. Now, as much as I would love to talk about, law of attraction type stuff and and all that stuff is really good, and you guys can keep doing that. But when Mars is in an earth sign, this is when inspired action really, really starts to get lit on fire, okay? When we talk about inspired action, it's the inspired action that is needed and that is necessary for the achievement of the goal. And it's not drudgery. I mean, it doesn't have to be. It's not that feeling of oh my gosh, I have to do this. It's more like, no, I get to do this, and this is going to be great because then I'm going to be able to check this off my list and I'll be able to do my other things. And it's exciting, and it will feed your soul, because when you start seeing yourself checking things off the list, you're going to be like, oh wow, that I really was able to do that. I really could do that. I really did make that phone call. I really did make that happen. And wow, look at all this progress. And you're going to have a couple of months where you can actually really see the progress, and you'll be able to really sink your teeth into it. And I think that's going to be something that we've needed for quite some time, because I feel like there's been a lot of desire, but the follow-up action or the inspiration to take action has been a little depleted because of the intensity of the energy, specifically since November with that eclipse. And with the node now, as of the 18th, right, just as of yesterday, the nodes have transitioned. So they're getting settled in their new sign for the next year and a half. And I would give them a little bit of time before you start really, again, sinking your teeth into, or sinking your hooks into the feeling of traction. I don't think that 2021 had a lot of traction. People were able to accomplish a lot very quickly, and they could go and they could do things very quickly, but it wasn't I don't know, it just had this quality of being, it's fire and air, right? Sagittarius, Gemini, it wasn't tangible. But when we move into an earth sign, we have a tangibility to it. And this is what we've been wanting. This is what we've been craving. And this is what, in many ways, we've been hoping for. The actualization of a lot of things. And so we're starting to get used to that sort of manifestation process, or the feeling of that. Mars through Capricorn is going to really help. Again, he's going to be here for a couple of months. So, we have time, and you're going to be able to accomplish a lot during that time. Venus is still in her retrograde. She doesn't go direct until the 29th. So we still have another, 10 days of that. And she is going to be, she's really slow right now, right? Because she doesn't go direct until 11 degrees. I think it's 11 degrees. Yeah, so she's slow. She's only got a couple degrees to go here. And I think she's saying, again, adding to that slow down energy. Slow it down, breathe, allow for things to evolve naturally. You don't have to push. You don't have to really make things happen. See, some people with this Venus in Capricorn energy may really feel desperation, and they may be grasping, really grasping at, old contacts, old lovers, grasping for things and really trying to force it. That's a very Capricorn thing, is that wanting of control. But Venus retrograde is saying, look, that's not really what you want to be doing. It doesn't feel good. Remember, Venus is a lot about pleasure. And in Capricorn, it's tough for her to find the things that feel good, but she's also here to help us define and to have a more stark contrast between what feels good and what does not feel good. And by doing the things that feel good, we tend to make our lives better. It's more enjoyable. It's more fun because it is more pleasurable. And so the feeling of dominance, or the feeling of grasping or desperation, the feeling of wanting control in places where you just simply do not have it, she's kind of like saying, like, that's not going to work. Like, you're not going to be able to achieve through that methodology. It has to be pleasurable. It has to be, something that feels right or feels in alignment. It doesn't mean it has to be easy. It just means that it has to be in alignment. If you're not in alignment and you're running around like a crazy person, then she's going to make it very difficult to actually cross that finish line. She wants us to have joy in our life. It's not an accident that she's doing this retrograde in her own decan, in the Venus or the Venusian decan, in the Taurus decan of Capricorn. She's giving us an opportunity to reset and reboot. And as Mars comes in and follows, now as Mars comes in, he and Venus are going to be doing a dance through Capricorn. They're going to be very, very close conjunction. And as she starts to speed up, Mars is going to catch up to her. She's going to start speeding up, and they're going to be together for quite some time. So Mars is going to be giving us the opportunity to execute and act upon the things that are Venusian in our life. And it's about the achievement and the accomplishment of those things and the actualization and the reality. To top that off, we have the sun today moving into Aquarius. Now, Aquarius, I talked about this last week as well, he's moving into the first decan, which is the Aquarius or Uranus ruled decan. So there is a quality here of randomness, quality of unpredictability or pick up and go, spontaneity, but it's also revolutionary, right? We can't forget about the change or the overhaul quality of Uranus. He wants to do things differently. And when the sun is in Aquarius and Mars is now in Capricorn, you get to apply the revolutionary ideas and the innovation that you want in your life to create more pleasure with Venus. See, as the sun came over Pluto and we had Venus in conjunction with Pluto, and then Mercury, which is right here at 7 degrees of Aquarius, retrograding back into the sun, back into Pluto, and coming just a little bit on the other side of Pluto here before he begins to go direct, which happens, he enters into Capricorn on the 25th. So it's like the day after that Mars comes into Capricorn, Mercury goes back into Cap. So there's kind of this like rethinking. That's what Mercury retrogrades are great for. We get to quote unquote, everything. We get to redo, rethink, reinvent, review, right? We get to redo everything. So we get to rethink past modalities, rethink the past ways of doing things. We get to reinvent certain things. And because Pluto is involved, it means that there is a certain structure, there is a certain way of thinking, because this is in the Mercury decan of Capricorn. There is a certain way of thinking that simply can no longer sustain itself anymore. Has a lot to do with our joy and our pleasure and our financial habits and the things that we, our resistant energies. And the sun in Aquarius is here to say, let's revolutionize this. Boom. And it's going to be loud revolutionary energies for us as individuals, because we want the change. Like, I think genuinely speaking, if we were to genuinely have a one-on-one conversation, you would look me in the face and you would say, yes, Jane, I want this change. I don't want this resistant energy anymore. I don't want this fear anymore. I don't want this insecurity. I don't want. And by defining the things that you don't want, you then in turn define exactly what you do want. And it becomes more clear what you do want. It becomes more clear the direction that you want to go. And Aquarius says, all right, let's pick up and go. I mean, this is a very adventurous zodiac sign. So let's pick up and go, and let's push this boundary, and let's break the rules, right? Because even as the sun, again, we're not quite there this week, but as the sun creeps closer and closer and closer to Saturn, it highlights the rules. And in Aquarius, it's about breaking them. It's about shattering them, really. And saying these just simply do not work. This simply is not the way the world works anymore. This simply is not how I am going to allow my world to work anymore. And there's determination, because remember, Mars will be in Capricorn. Remember, Mars is exalted in Capricorn. He's very strong here. He likes to be in Capricorn because he can go very far, and he doesn't have to slow down. It's a cardinal energy, so he gets to initiate, he gets to begin, he gets to run on the battlefield. This is where he thrives. All right, so when we have a very strong Mars and we have a sun that is changing the whole rule book, Mars is like, yep, I'm on it. I got it. I'm going to be able to take care of it. So you have your own sort of cleanup energy. It's like you make the chaos and then you sweep everything up and clean up, just immediately after. So there's not really going to be huge negative effects of this revolution. You may lose a toxic friend, but is that really a negative effect? I don't know. I think that's more of a positive effect. You may leave a relationship that's not making you happy. You might move to a new apartment that's better. You may do this, but it's all for the best. And remember, this week we have a waning moon, which means we are about releasing things. We're releasing... I'm kind of even coming back. I have to come back to that eclipse at 27 degrees of Taurus, because it was in a sextile, and this particular full moon was in the Neptune decan. So this was about the dissolution or the dissolving of the illness, quote unquote. And the illness can be defined or used as a symbol to define the things that are your own illness, which are your own toxic traits or behaviors or whatever you want to call it. And Neptune always forces us to release and to surrender and sometimes to lose. But there is always the higher spiritual purpose for everything. Whenever Neptune is involved, there is always a higher spiritual purpose. And remember, again, we're still in this Kala Sarpa yoga with all the planets, with the exception of the moon, but she goes round and round so fast we don't really count her. But all the Kala Sarpa yoga, a lot of people ask me, so if you want to look it up, it's Kala Sarpa. There are some other spellings for it, but the Kala Sarpa yoga, and that means that all the planets are on one side of the nodes, and we can see that here. Boom. And they're not just all on one side of the nodes, but as the sun comes through Aquarius, technically it won't happen until the very end of Aquarius season, but by zodiac sign, Aquarius as a fixed sign is in a squaring energy or a squaring angle with Scorpio and Taurus, which is where the nodes are. So we have these nodes over here, and then in a square we have the sun, which is a very powerful influence. And so this is going to be not just a week but a month where we feel I kind of am feeling like we're going to be very one-sided about stuff. But I think it's a necessary one-sidedness. It's a necessary imbalance that has to take place in order for us to get this place that may have been neglected, or you may have been depriving yourself. You have to get that ramped up. So you need to dedicate more time and energy toward the Aquarian chaos, toward the Aquarian revolution or innovation in your life, for the sake of the change and the materialization, right? Change, South Node in Scorpio, materialization, North Node in Taurus, to actually occur. So I am going to say, like, if you need to go a little bit crazy, go a little bit crazy, you know, and do whatever cleanup you really need to do. Aquarius is one of those zodiac signs that can be, I don't know why this always comes to my mind, but I'm always reminded, Scorpio and Aquarius both, I see this way. It's like someone who is fabulously wealthy, who has this giant like house that's like, you know, like a friggin' airport with big windows, and it's huge and it's beautiful and it's modern and it's so elegant, beautiful views, everything. But then you walk into the house and it's just like this minimal furniture. And it's gorgeous, but it's minimal. And it doesn't mean that person doesn't have wealth, because they are fantastically wealthy. It's just, it's very basic. And I'm not saying that Aquarian people are like that. I'm saying that the archetype is like that, right? It's kind of like it's just the quality of understanding the infinite nature of the universe and the infinite access that you have, but also saying, that's what I like. And I just want it to be simple, and I just want it to be easy and straightforward. And I don't need all this artwork everywhere and all these rugs everywhere. I don't need all this extra stuff everywhere. I just need it to work. And I feel like this is a time for you to look at your life and say, oh my gosh, I'm so sick of all this extra stuff. I just want it to work. I just want it to be simple and easy, and I want it to make sense. And this means you are going to be throwing a lot of things out. And we still have this, again, over and over and over, week after week after week. I have to talk about Jupiter in Pisces, because this is what is giving us the hope and the belief that if we were to make changes, a big change, especially, like, for example, if you were going to leave a romantic partner, maybe, let's say even this, let's make it even deeper. To leave a romantic partner that you are financially dependent on. Jupiter gives you the belief that says, no, I can make my own money. Like, I don't want to be unhappy and be controlled because of my financial limitation. Like, that's all in my head. There is an infinite amount of money available to me, even if I can't see it yet, but it is infinitely available to me. Jupiter gives you that belief and that sort of faith, so that the big decisions and the big edits to your life can actually be made. And he will continue to be doing that. And it's not delusional when you're applying it to belief in yourself. All right? I think delusion comes into it when we have belief in someone else, right? When we believe that someone else is going to be different or change, or believe that they're going to do that thing, or believe that that's when it kind of crosses that line into delusion. But again, it's even a fine line even then, because I think it's good to believe in people and to believe in that potential and believe in what they can do. But the line there is, are you giving your power away while in that process of cheering someone else on? You see what I'm saying? So I don't think that Jupiter can be delusional when it is applied to the dreams that you have for yourself. And if you can keep directing that Jupiterian energy toward yourself, I believe I can heal. I believe I can be financially successful. I believe my business can take off. I believe I can have this money. I believe. And to truly feel it in your bones, then you're just knocking down all the resistance all over the place. And the less resistance you have, the more free you are, which is the beautiful thing about Aquarius season. It really is about freedom. And the more you are then able to receive. Now, I think that as the moon comes across, not through Virgo, but in through in through Virgo, if I could say in Libra, if I could say the word, here's the moon here. Now, this moon in particular, very close degree with Venus and Uranus and Chiron. Now, it's in a trine with Saturn as well, but I think generally speaking, Venus, Chiron, and Uranus are the main players here. Now, why am I pointing these out? I'm pointing these out because especially the Chiron energy, this might be a day, January 23rd, which is the day right before Mars moves into Capricorn, where you may start to feel a little doubtful. Because Chiron energy kind of has that tendency to bring up the pain, bring up the wounding or the hurt. And it might not be huge. It might be quite subtle, actually. But I do feel that that's an important day to pay attention to, because that's the part of you that's going to be the resisting part of you. The wounded part is going to resist this radical change you want to make. It's the part of you that might not fully believe. It's the part of you that might not have the faith. It's the part of you that wants to hide and wants to cower and wants to keep things the same and wants to run away in its own comfort zone when everything else is pushing for progress and evolution. This Chiron energy says, oh my gosh, but I'm not ready to really do that yet. That's really scary. And I just want you to pay attention. Not all of you are going to have that feeling, and that's fine. Hopefully none of you do, actually. Hopefully none of us. If that's my one wish that I could make this week, that's the wish that I would make. But Chiron has a tendency to hold progress back. And anyone who has been through or is currently going through a significant Chiron transit knows how much stuff surfaces. Oh my gosh, so much stuff. Things that you didn't even know was operating in your subconscious mind and creating problems in your reality. All of a sudden, all that stuff comes flooding forward. So this is just a glimpse into a part of yourself, just one day, not even a full day, maybe just like the beginning of the day, right? The beginning of January 23rd on Sunday. And it's just probably going to come in as just like a couple of thoughts. And I want you to recognize those thoughts immediately as they happen and say, you know what, that right there, that voice, that thought pattern, that string of words that comes through, that's the part of me that needs to be loved. That's the lonely, scared, afraid part of me. And the reason why I think it's so crucial that we pay attention to that is because if we don't, then it is likely that all this talk of progress and innovation and all that might not be as exciting as it could be, because this voice is going to have power. And I think the way that you take its power away, quote unquote, is by offering that part of you as much love and compassion as you possibly can give. Because as the moon continues to cycle through and makes its way to its new moon in Aquarius, again, that's happening on February 1st. And then a couple days later, Mercury is going to be going direct. And then we're going to have all the planets going direct. And through February, it's going to be a month of a lot of progress for many, many, many people. And we just want to get the things out of the way that could potentially be hindrances when it doesn't necessarily need to be. Okay? All right. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. You guys know I love you. Have an amazing week, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.